to, what I was going to say was welcome to the Books, Music, and News Review Show. So in a minute, I'll head over into the studio. So as you can see, the opinions and views expressed on this program do not reflect those of the management or staff of Staten Island Community Television. And yes, it's a copyrighted show. It airs practically, every Saturday at 12:30, daytime. And right now we'll go into the studio. Right now. Hopefully we'll go in the studio. Oh, hold on a second. I have my first technical difficulty. Hold on a second. We'll go to camera 3, camera 2. There you go. Now we'll be in the studio. Okay, so today I have a couple of books that I want to talk about. Yes, books, surprise. Okay, books, surprise. Oh, I forgot something in the other room. But if I didn't, that wouldn't be me. It's interesting. I pulled out a few different books, and I wanted to talk about a few different books and a few different movies. I can recommend a couple of movies because I've watched them in entirety, as they say. From, I can't say cover to cover because they're movies. But I'm going to quickly recommend 2 movies that are old movies. Not as old as me, but they're old. They're not this year's movies. Oh, hold a second. I'll be right back. Mercy dotes and dozy dotes and little lambs. What I come in here for? Oh, I see. Okay, so, back to the studio. Yeah. I like that song. It's kind of a funny song from a long time ago. Mares eat oats. Mares eat oats, and those eat oats. And I forget the rest already. But hold on. I'll pull this a little closer so you can hear me better. First, the 2 books. There go those lights again. I'm gonna lower those lights because they're really kind of very bright. The first book is the first movie. Not necessarily in order of importance, of course, but the one I just picked up was Whale Rider. Whale Rider. I'm going to bring it to the screen. There you go. Oops, hold on. And I'm going to lower the lights. First, I'll let you see it. Whale Rider and the Passion of the Christ. Let me lower some lights. That's the one. That's the light I don't like. And that one. Okay, that'll work. Now that's a little bit darker. But that's exactly the way I like it. Okay, those were the 2 lights that were shining in my eyes. So I shut them off. Okay, so I have 2 movies. One I bought and one I got as a gift, which is a very interesting story. I really like it. Someone very special got me this movie, which at the time, I'll talk about the Passion of the Christ first. And that's not what the show is about. Actually, the show is going to be about a tiny little book called, you think I remember this, right? I do. It's called Rules of the Red Rubber Ball. That's what the show is going to be about. A tiny little book that I'm going to read from called Rules of the Red Rubber Ball. And you got to stay tuned to hear that because it's really an interesting book. And let me take some of this equipment off here. That's better. It's actually a book that I bought for someone as a gift. And I have this policy that if I give somebody a gift of a book, I must read the entire book first. And the reason is because I don't want to give anybody a book that is kind of either stinky or maybe a book that has something harmful in it. So I read every book I've ever given to anyone, I've read first. That was a problem with the Red Rubber Ball book. So I bought this for one of my sons probably, how many years ago? I'll tell you when it was published. Oh my goodness, it was published in 2004, which means I bought it in 2004, 2005, and still did not give this gift away. The reason I didn't give it away was because I read it and I loved the story. I love the positivity in it. I love the passion. And which is interesting. That's not the reason why I bought the book in the first place. The reason why I bought the book was because one of my son's favorite songs, when he was very much younger, was Red Rubber Ball. Remember that song? It was from, I can't tell you what year, but it was Red Rubber Ball. It was kind of a funky song, just a happy-go-lucky song. So as soon as I saw this book, Rules of the Red Rubber Ball, I said, oh yeah, I got to get that for so-and-so, which I'm not going to say names on this show. Okay, so the first one I'm going to review is Passion of the Christ. The second one is Whale Rider. It says at the top, people love Whale Rider. It's true. If you see this movie, you'll love it. Well, most times, you might love it. I loved it. In the ways of the ancients, she found a hope for the future. And her picture is on there. She's the Whale Rider. Did I give it away? Okay. Well, you tune in to Books, Music, and News Review. And finally, we're reviewing some movies. I haven't done that in a long time. I think it's been over a year or so since I reviewed a movie. Okay, first, the gift that I got is The Passion of Christ. Now, do you remember when, I will bring this to the camera first. Do you remember when this first came out in the movies? It came out, and what was everyone saying about it? Oh, I shut the lights. No, you can't see. I guess I could flip them on a minute. Oh, that's not good. Okay, I flipped them on a minute so you can see. There you go. The cover of the movie, The Passion of the Christ. That's the movie we're going to review. See if I can get the same lights to shut. Okay, I did that. That'll work. Okay. So, oh, there's the mic. I'll use this mic. Can you hear me? And TV land, as they say. So The Passion of Christ, when it first came out, there was a lot of hubbub and taboo and to-do, and there was a lot of talk on the news and in social medias, and there was just a whole lot of talk about it. A lot of, well, some people say a lot of hype about the movie. Maybe they really hyped it up because they wanted everybody to go see it, and they wanted the movie to be a splash or a smash or whatever they say in Hollywood. So there was a lot of talk about it. There was so much talk about it. It was like you heard about it this day, then you heard about it that day. The movie, The Passion of the Christ. And as soon as I heard all of the hype, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to see that. Generally, I'm kind of strange that way. It's like if there's a whole lot of hype about something, I don't want to see it. I'll be like, maybe I'll see it a long time from now. Maybe. But anyway, so I got this as a present. And I know the person gave it to me because they know I love Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ is my Savior. So I thought, this is cool. I got the movie. I could see it in the comfort of my own home, which is good. A lot of people were complaining about the movie, about how they portrayed the Jews in the movie, and a whole lot of other stuff. It was so long ago, I forget exactly what they said, but it was a lot of talk and a lot of hype about the movie. And of course, Mel Gibson. It was a Mel Gibson film, still is a Mel Gibson film. So I watched The Passion of Christ, and I watched the whole thing. And to my great surprise, I really enjoyed the movie and I really liked it. I didn't think I was going to like it because of all the hype, because they said so many things about it. And I thought, all this talk, it was just talk. It was just, I don't know, movie reviews, people who weren't reviewers. I'm not a professional reviewer. I'm just like, well, I saw the movie, I'll tell you about it. I saw the movie, I'll tell you if I like it, if I don't like it. Maybe I'll tell you what you might get from the movie. But I'll tell you, if you like Jesus Christ, if you love Jesus Christ, if he's your Savior, if you don't like him, if you don't know anything about him, I recommend this movie. This was a great movie. If I'm going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, oh wait, we have a visitor. We're going to have to see who's visiting. This is the Books, Music, and News Review. Who is that? Yo! Don't come in while we're on air. Okay, we'll fix that. Hold on, we have people interrupting. And it's very, very early. Do not come in. Okay, so we're on air. The powers that be, please have people not interrupt the show. Okay. So we need some of the we need some producer to actually, another producer. We have an associate producer, we need another producer. Email me and we'll give you information about becoming a producer or about participating in a show or having your own show. Got a lot of information. Actually, I've written, there I go, segueing to something else. I'm in the middle of the Passion of the Christ, and I'm going to go to something else and come right back to this. So, about producing shows. I've written a number of articles that are published, that are presently still online and still published. A number of different articles about producing television. And the reason I wrote them is because I've been producing TV for almost 20 years, 19 years. And, I've produced shows in the big studio. That's good. So I produced shows in the big studio where I've had 6 or 7 producers helping out in the studio in another city. And I did that for years. And I produce shows in the small studio. Well, you don't need 6 or 7 people or 3 or 4, or however many you like. So, back to, if you want to know where my articles are, I've produced a number of different articles. Well, the whole sum of my articles have actually had over 34,000 views of all the different articles that I've written online. So, you want the site? Write to me and I'll send you the information. You can check out the articles. Written articles about pet shops and written articles about the Bible and all different various topics. Now, back to the show. The Passion of Christ. So it was a great story. To me, as I saw the story, it was just really basically most of what is in the Bible. So it was really kind of a Bible story. It did show what happened to Jesus Christ. And it showed, they had some pretty strong scenes in there. So maybe that's what people are upset about, the scenes. Tell you a little bit of what it says on the back. A great epic film. 2 thumbs way up. Powerfully moving. An impressive and passionate vision. From the Academy Award-winning director, Mel Gibson, comes a profound story of courage and sacrifice depicting the final 12 hours in the life of Jesus Christ. And I'm going to have to watch it again because I watched it. What year did it come out? Let's see. The year's not on here. It was a number of years ago, quite a number of years ago. So it's the last 12 hours in the life of the Jesus Christ. That's what that's about. And it was featuring stunning cinematography and an inspired performance by can't say that word either, by this Jim guy. The Passion of Christ is a triumphant, uncompromising filmmaking achievement. And I can vouch for that because I saw the movie. I thought the movie was great. Next movie. This is a movie I bought for myself in a store many, many years ago. And the reason I bought it was because, yes, I'll watch adult movies and kids movies that are for kids. This seems to be like for teenage viewers and adult viewers. The moral of the story is absolutely wonderful. The story itself is wonderful. Oh, I don't have the review on here. Hold on. All it says is, people love Whale Rider. Whale Rider, in the ways of the ancients, she found a hope for the future. There's magic in this movie, and there is. And what the movie is about, it's about traditions. It's about these very serious traditions about who would be the Whale Rider. And I'll give you a little bit of information about it, but you have to see the whole movie. Go get it from somewhere. Maybe it's in the library, I don't know. It's on DVD. But the Whale Rider generally is a male person. Ta-da! Here you go, a women's lib movie for the girls, for the teenage girls, for the adults. Actually, no, 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 no. You could come away thinking that if you know that the whale rider is male and she's female. But really, what the story really is about, like it says, it's about hope. And it's also about this old grumpy grandfather. I think it was the kid's grandfather or uncle. I'm not sure. It may have been the kid's grandfather. And he was very upset that she was a girl and he didn't want her to ride the whales. But anyway, there's a whole big story involved. If you're a girl, guy, woman, teenager, man, I highly recommend this really positive lesson teaching movie called Whale Rider. Find it. It's a good movie. So there you go. Books and music and news reviews. So I've done movie and now we get to the book. I'm going to read some of it because it's been a long time since I've read this book. It's called Rules of the Red Rubber Ball. And I'm going to read you the table of contents, some of it, just to get you an idea. The first one is commit to it. The second one is seek out encouragers. The third is work out your creative muscle. And 4 is prepare to shine. Speak up. Expect the unexpected. Maximize the day, and I'll tell you one thing. Get this book called The Red Rubber Ball. So the reason I never gave this book away was because I read it, I was fascinated, and I thought, I just can't get this for one person. I wanted to get a whole bunch of these books and give it to everybody. So I wanted to buy a lot of copies and give it to all my kids and all my grandkids. And that's why I still have the book and I haven't given it to anyone, so maybe they'll watch the show. I don't know. But I'm going to read a little bit of something, and eventually I will get around to getting a whole bunch of the Red Rubber Ball. Rules, the Red Rubber Ball. I'm not going to read you the beginning part of it, but I'll tell you there's a picture of, I don't know if that's the author. However, I like the sentence under the picture of the author, and it says, the red rubber ball saved my life. That's what it says. The red rubber ball saved my life. I was born in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania in 1958 to parents who eventually abandoned their 3 children. My father left before I was 3, and I've only seen my mother a handful of times since I was 6, and that's what the author is writing in Rules of the Red Rubber Ball. That's how it begins. My brothers and I moved in with our grandparents on a modest street in a wealthy suburb of Philadelphia. There, amid the conflicting worlds of affluence, working-class families, and down-and-out drug dealers, Mom, and Pop raised us. I was that quiet, scrawny kid. And for a while, I felt lost. And we turn to the next page, and you see a fence and a kid holding onto the fence. And then he says, and then I discovered the playground. So he goes on to talking about the playground. But let me tell you something. Rules of the Red Rubber Ball are not really about the playground. But right in the beginning of the book, that's where you find us, in the playground. The playground in its wide open field became my friend. It was a gathering place. It was a free place. And it is where I discovered sports and the red rubber ball that fueled my dreams. And amidst the uncertainty of my childhood, playground became my sanctuary. I guess for me it would have been the playground also if I give a little bit of my own experience. When I was maybe 9 or 10 or so, the playground became my sanctuary. I would take a walk down Nostrand Avenue. And over past, I think it was PS 269, there was a park, a big park, not too far from the Vanderveer projects. And in that park, there were these old men just sitting around, like bunches and bunches of old men sitting at the tables. And there I was, a little girl, a 10-year-old, and I walked into the park. And I got the chance, the opportunity the wonderful experience to watch the game of chess. Yeah, it's a guy's game. Very rare that girls and women like to play chess. No wonder it's a guy's game. All the old men are the experts, and they knew what they were doing. So, I would just stand there quietly and watch these guys play chess. So I learned from the masters, you might say. I would just watch. Yeah, kids usually aren't quiet, but I was a different kind of kid. I would just sit there and stare. Stare at the pieces. I didn't even ask them, like, what are you doing? What you playing? Can I play? I just stood there frozen, as was my job when I was a child. Just stay there. Freeze. Don't speak. Don't utter a word. So I stood there, the perfect chess watcher. So I would go there whenever I could, and I would watch them and play at chess. So he says, that's where I discovered the red rubber ball that fueled my dreams. And the uncertainty of my childhood, the playground became my sanctuary, a magical environment where my worries, shame, and low self-esteem disappeared. And then I discovered the gift of speed. And they don't mean what you think. My size, I could outrun the other kids. And there's a picture of the team. The whole team. That was his ticket to the field, so he's talking about sports. And he played whatever sports there was, soccer, football, and it goes on and on. For years, I ran, kicked, chased, etc., etc. After that ball, I was enthralled with whatever sport I played. I felt active and powerful. I felt loved and wanted. I grew physically stronger and more confident. And when recess or playtime was over, when it was time to go inside, I didn't want it to end. In class, I daydreamed about playing in the pros. My obsession with sports did not go unnoticed. And then there's this little note. I guess somebody wrote a little Post-it note before Post-it notes were popular. Please encourage Kevin to think about something other than sports. And the grandmother wrote back and said, if that's what he loves, so be it. And my grandmother gave sports her stamp of approval. I knew it was okay to chase that ball. I was free to play, free to pursue my joy, and so I did. And I took a path out of my neighborhood and into the world, and then there's a picture. Looks like Army, I don't know. Air Force, after high school, joined the Air Force. And it goes on and on. Now I ask you, that's the question in Rules of the Red Rubber Ball. What's your red rubber ball? What is it? And it's not about a ball. I believe that people discover their red rubber ball in the moment of innocence, like on a playground. After all, where do dreams start? They start when we're playing, when we're free to run and romp around. That's when we imagine we're something bigger than we were or are. The red rubber ball represents play to me. It's any activity, a topic, or purpose that makes you excited about the day. The moment of discovery does not have to be in childhood. It comes to us at any stage in life as long as we're open to new experiences, ideas, and emotions. Your red rubber ball is what grabs you by the soul. It's what captures your imagination. It's what you do when no one tells you what to do. Your red rubber ball is what grabs you by the soul. It's what captures your imagination. It's what you do when no one tells you what to do, when you're alone in your room, on the playground, or It's what you daydream. And the dream becomes your life works if you let it, and you have to let it. We got 5 minutes to show. I am not halfway through this book, and you didn't get to see all the great pictures. But finding your red rubber ball is only half the battle. Once you find it, you must follow it. And that takes courage and strength and imagination. And in my own journey, I've discovered guidelines or rules that will help ensure you never lose sight of your red rubber ball. Do you see now why I couldn't give this book away? that I just couldn't give it to one person, but everybody has to hear the words in here because a lot of people don't realize it or don't know it, or if they knew it, they have forgotten it. In my own journey, I've discovered guidelines or rules that will ensure you never lose sight of your red rubber ball. And then there's some guidelines, etc. And the first one is commit to it. The desire to follow your red rubber ball must come from deep within you. The urge must feel irresistible. It's as if it's percolating up from your soul. Desire comes from your heart, not from your head. It does not always seems like a rational pursuit, but it will not always be a path you can justify to others or yourself. Doubt is to be expected, but not obeyed. I only have 3 minutes and 55 seconds. I can't finish the book. But you know what? I think I'm going to do another show someday and read the rest of Rules of the Red Rubber Ball. And if you're ever looking for that present, for somebody who has everything or somebody who has nothing, that's the one. But don't do what I did. Like, buy it and give it. I'm going to go put the little words on the screen. My red rubber ball says, put the words on the screen. No, that wasn't mine. That was someone else's. So here you go. You are listening to the Books, Music, and News Review Show, which airs generally on Saturdays at 12:30 in the daytime. So we got 3 minutes, and I'm going to go back into the studio. So, I don't know, maybe I'll finish reading the book. You never know. So today we talked about The Passion of the Christ, which was a movie, another movie called Whale Rider, and a wonderful, wonderful book called Rules of the Red Rubber Ball. And if I had a voice, I'd sing the song because the song was from what, the 70s? Red Rubber Ball. Maybe next time, but I might just finish reading that book. Maybe I'll flip a few pages and read you a little more. Rules of the Red Rubber Ball. Very interesting. A lot of personal experience are in this book. 6, expect the unexpected. For all your planning, events will sometimes, and the rest is written upside down. I like this author. But if you expect the unexpected and embrace it, I'll turn the book upside down. You will still stay true to your red rubber ball. Basically, the book is telling you, be yourself, forget what the crowd is saying. It doesn't matter if you're doing something different. It's just something you love to do. It's your passion. The rules of the red rubber ball is, if you find your red rubber ball and you stick with it, amazing things will happen in your life. Totally amazing. So we got 1 minute and 17 seconds left. I could keep reading. 7, maximize the day. Each day contains 86,400 seconds. That's 86,400 opportunities to chase, kick, catch, or run after your red rubber ball. Pursuit must become your daily routine, not a New Year's resolution or a once-a-year sport. It is a constant exercise in listening and learning and preparing and acting. I think I'll go in the other room. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Books and Music and News Review. Books, Music, and News Review. And I hope you tune in again. Tune in on other times and see if we're airing at another time. Because, every show is different. Sometimes we review books. Sometimes we review movies. Sometimes we'll just talk about things like Red Rubber Ball. Channel 34 on Spectrum and Verizon. I'm not sure what channel it's on Verizon, but I know it's Channel 34 on Spectrum. And I hope you really enjoyed the show. All shows, all the episodes. Keep on watching. And write us an email if you want to see where we are online. Whoops.